I may have misremembered you saying something, but I feel like a couple games ago you might have said that you were looking forward to seeing how TJ and Jimmy would go together in the last two games. I think they did more minutes together than they did before all that. And the numbers seem like they're pretty good. What have you seen from the two of them together in particular?
And the numbers would support this, that they're doing well together. You know, TJ is probably more of a a point guard type that's just going to be, running the team, where Ben has got so much to offer in relation to, putting pressure on the rim, ducking in and being 6'10" in front of the rim. Like, there's more sort of variety that Ben impacts the game with. And TJ, and I say this respectfully, is a motor. He's a point guard in a traditional sense. And Jimmy reaps the benefit of playing with that type of point guard. And I think that the growth of those two, for kind of that reason, interests us. And albeit not a ton of time, it's enough to sort of validate our gut feel that they could be a good pairing.
What's the level of balance you're looking for, like, in terms of just like you calling a play, or just saying, like, just play? Is there a certain level that you want?
We could talk about this for a long time. What I would ask you is this, and I'm not being a smart guy, like, what stage of the game is it? Is it the fourth period type stuff? How many trips has it gone up and down the floor without Joel touching it type stuff? The only time I really want to do it, and for the most part, I'm pretty disciplined on doing what I'm going to say to you, is when Joel just hasn't got the ball. You want to stop it and, like, get him the ball type stuff. Otherwise, I don't want to call a play. Like, I think it's one of the overrated parts of NBA coaching. There are times in a game you feel it, you have to do it, it's fourth period, but the pace of the game, the flow of the game, organic stuff interests me a lot, especially when you're starting to have the variety and the talent that can play in that environment responsibly. And so for me, we start to stat, it's still early days as far as the math of this is a good play, this isn't type stuff. At the end of this first third, you're gonna have enough information where I'll be able to tell you, I shouldn't run, ear tug point from the downside ever, because it's not that efficient of a play, versus it's not that good because we're not executing it well. Oh, let's just flip JJ and bring Jimmy here. So we studied, and the information will be coming in far more quantity. But in general, I think that play calls can be dangerous to flow and feel and movement and pace and all that. Organic basketball interests me way more than play calls.
So when you say it depends on how long it's been since
On
how long since Joel's touched the ball, is that trying to keep him engaged in the offense, or is that more trying to apply pressure to the other team's defense?
It's all that, and it also has to do with his spirit. He's 7'2", he's busting his tail, getting up and down the floor and rebounding, and I lived this with 12 years with Tim Duncan, and they're both great people, but it's times like enough's enough, they need a touch. You just feel it, there's no other way to say it. And so I'm not like jumping up and saying, oh, let's post Ben, or let's slow down, let's bring JJ off a pin down. I'm not doing that. When I stop it, it's to get Joel the ball. And I say that, dramatically and emphatically, because the very, very, very large majority of the time when I do that, it's for that reason.
Last two games obviously been pretty convincing. Like, how do you walk the line of letting the guys feel what they did in those two games, but also, is there a measured feeling that you want them to have about it, or how do you, I guess, let them feel the amount of good?
I mean, there are parts of each of those previous two games that you'd have to applaud them no matter who you were playing. Like, we get their records of the previous two teams, aren't that good at the moment. And so we're not to take away anything from our last two opponents. And so no matter who you play, you're like, this is a really good job on a rotation, or this is a really good job on a pick and roll coverage, or whatever it is. And so, like, you admit it, you want to help grow them. And in sort of real ways, and at times when possible, positive ways. But you move quickly on, like you move really quickly on. And tonight, you know, our last memory of playing down in Memphis when the trade had just happened, we felt like we could have won with the team that we had. And then you go back and you look at the god-awful fact of them having 18 more shots than we did. It's like that haunting collision of turnovers and offensive rebounds. And it just equals, you know, we had 85 shots, they had 103, I think it was. And we lost in overtime, and we didn't really shoot that well either. So, you know, that's our last memory. I got tremendous respect for Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. You know, those two guys, I think I use the analogy of Stockton Malone type down in Memphis. I don't know how many years they played together, but they sure know how to play together.
But not just tonight's game, but excuse me, the next couple ones, and playing quality ball games. And you know, this is a different team from when you played these guys before, like with Willie, Wilson is in better shape, you know, Michael Scholar. I mean, what are some of the things you're trying to, you know, look and see, you know, dissect from the team in this game?
Defense. It's the same thing. It's defense and defensive rebounding. And like, what are we doing? The whole other stuff, you know, I would say, without trying to do a clinic up here, it's defense is what interests me the most.
So it always gets back to that. You know?
For me, it does.
Yeah.
At this stage,
you don't want to see any, like, you know, matchup with how Jimmy and
sure.
T
But when you ask me what matters most, that ain't it. It's how are we guarding, how are we rebounding. And that base for a very long time is what's going to dominate my film sessions, my practices, my discussion. We want to be elite defensively. And as this thing shakes out, we're going to find ways to score. We had 8 guys in double figures the last time that we played here. And I know, and I get, you know, Washington was down that night. But it's tonight, Wilson's not going to be with us. He will not be playing tonight. And, you know, you have a vacuum at that 4 spot as is. It's part of, you know, the growth and the design of our team. And so we're going to have to rejiggle some stuff around in relation to who am I going to start. I'm still thinking through that. I've got no answers for you now. And so, like, we're going to need some stuff. We're going to need some extra stuff defensively, especially to win here tonight. And apart from this specific game, just in general, you know, this first third of the season is just growing that base, growing that belief, growing that accountability, learning how to integrate Wilson and Jimmy especially into some concepts and defensive schemes that we believe in and we're trying to grow. I thought the last few games we were really good defensively, and we want to be better.
Why won't he play tonight?
It's just a knee into a thigh, you know, it's just stiff and sore, and you know, we got the schedule coming up that we're paying attention to. Tomorrow will be a day off, a scheduled day off, and we don't feel like it's that smart to force feed this. You know, so like you wish Jonah Bolden were healthy. As an example, you know, the last game, it was clear that, you know, I had 6 guys, I'm spinning around for 14 minutes, 12 minutes, and you know, you're always mindful of the health of the team when we are as injured or unavailable with our players as we are.
What are some of the challenges of defending a guy like Mike Conley compared to John Wall and Kemba Walker and those guys?
You know, Mike's ability to pull up and bury 3 after 3 after 3 is different than John's sort of tenacious attacking of a rim. I think Mike Conley, like when you look at him, his ability to make, you know, right-handed floaters from the foul line. Think of that. Like that shot that he made down in Memphis was just a backbreaker, and it doesn't surprise you because you see him do it so often. And at times, I think when you scout him, he looks more comfortable going to his right than he does with his left, and so he's got that floater game, that dance behind a very big man that can roll and pop and make threes, and so that tandem is really difficult because they're that good and that skilled and can score in a variety of ways. Yeah, no, I am. I think, I don't even pay attention to that. I am aware of it, but I don't think about it at all. And, you know, in my eyes, and he's been this way for a long time, he's an all-star.
Fred, you talk about all the things you do when you're balling, how some games will be far from perfect. Does it mean anything to you that this team, in spite of all that, still has the second most wins in the league?
You know, I don't even look at our record. I really don't. And I know we're third. At this stage, for me personally, it's a gut feel on how is your team playing. And I look at the standings maybe once a week, and my media people tell me, and you know, I watch all the games, and so I hear stuff when I watch them, but as far as like scrutinizing, you know, the order, I don't do that. And when I assess us, it is always, especially like this year and lately, is just how are we playing. And you know, I know when we're playing well, and I know when we're not, and I know when we're vulnerable, when we don't have the health of the players, and that worries me. But it's always like the performance, the spirit of the team. That stuff is what I pay most attention to.
But if you figure out your starting lineup, what is it that Wilson brings to the team that you want whoever fills in to add?
It's just he's a Swiss Army knife. You know, he can switch onto people. He's got a toughness about him, a physicality that is more of a spirit thing and a personality thing, more than like a skill thing. But he can make a three. You know, there's a athlete, there's an adult, there's a calmness on the team, on the court, because he doesn't need to get shots. You know, and you got 4 other guys that have the ability to put points on the board and get shots and maybe, you know, be more high volume than Wilson is. And so, you know, you hope you can get that from Mike in many ways. And then after that, you'll see Ben play a lot of 4 tonight, you know, and you just, that 4 spot is a little bit naked when you lose Wilson, especially.
But so are you expecting him to miss more games out of this one, or is this more precautionary?
It is.
Extra rest?
Yeah, I'm not, and I could be wrong, I'm not expecting him to miss Toronto.
Fred, what problems does Memphis and their pace present in the slowest pace in the NBA?
Say that one more time.
Their pace of play is the slowest in the NBA. What problems is that?
And so, like, we all shouldn't think that they're not dangerous at the start. I think, like, they still will find their moments. It's true what you just said. They still will find their moments because Mike's so unselfish, and they do have athletic wings. But going back to your point of, like, half-court stuff, they run good stuff, and they have Mike and Mark in actions that are difficult to guard. And, you know, having Joel where we can place him where he's not vulnerable, coming up and, you know, presenting aggressively on Mike Conley comes with tremendous risk behind that. And so being disciplined at sometimes and not, you know, having our own spirit broken that some long twos are backbreakers. They might be at the end of the game, but during the game, he's going to make some long twos. And how we guard that, I think is going to be important. That half-court slowness that you're talking about, I look at it as just a team that's really, you know, executes well, and especially well with those 2 players. But ultimately, the conversation, like most nights, ends up, how do you guard a pick and roll with, you know, 2 really good players? Thank you.